And joining us, our good friend from the NFL on Fox, Charles Davis. CD, good morning, my friend.
Good morning, DA. How you doing? And have a great time in horse country, man. It is gorgeous there. Absolutely gorgeous. Obviously, watch where you step. But other than that, I mean, everything else is aces out there. I mean, the stories are legendary about it. My father-in-law actually played basketball for Hardin-Simmons at one point. And Lou Henson was the head coach at Hardin-Simmons at the time. So he was a young and up-and-coming coach, and they go to play Kentucky. Now, think about this is the time frame, DA, where it wasn't charter flights, as you might imagine, right?
Yeah.
So these kids from Abilene, Texas, I mean, they get in the cars and the vans, and they drive up to Lexington. And day of game, Coach Henson gathers them together and says, boy, Coach Ruff is just such a great man. What an incredible man. He's arranged an incredible tour of the horse farms for us today, game day. And he had like 3 horse farms, and he walked those kids all over the place. Obviously, Adolph Rupp didn't give the tour. He had someone else do it. But those kids walked all over the place because Lou Henson wanted to be pleasing to the head coach at Kentucky, who was one of the giants at the time, and they just wore them out that night.
Oh, my gosh, that is great. I can only imagine in 2019 a team taking a horse farm tour before they go over to Rupp Arena to get their butt kicked.
On game day.
Yeah,
there'll be no shoot-around today, guys.
Yeah,
we're going to go visit. We're going to go to the Claiborne stables and see where Secretariat used to run around out here.
When we look at last night's game, what does the fact that Norv Turner ran a direct snap to Christian McCaffrey and split Cam Newton out wide on 4th and 1, what does that tell you about where the Panthers are offensively with Cam?
Yeah, I think that, I don't know if they're trying to protect the shoulder by not having to be the short yardage goal line runner that he's been for his entire career when they weren't worried about protecting anything. Because you and I both know, D.A., he's the only quarterback that we've known. This is how unique he is. That you would pay him whatever the amount of money is, okay? And he's going to be one of the highest paid players because he's won an MVP and he's done all these great things. You pay that amount of money and not from management on down tell your coaching staff, can we not get our quarterback hit?
Yeah.
And he's going to be a central part of the run game. That's how unique he is. We're going to look back at one point, DA, whatever we're going to say about Cam Newton's career, he's going to be the guy that we saw 20 years early, if that makes any sense at all. He's going to be our George Jetson, our agent, our Maxwell Smart, where, shoe phones and, that's your cell phone, right? Hovercraft. We see some of that stuff. All those things that we saw when we were kids and said, boy, that is super futuristic. That's kind of what Cam is, because there's no one else built like him with the DNA, with the ability to run it, throw it, all those things. But I don't think he's 100% healthy. Heard my colleague Troy Aikman say in the beginning of the game, we've been told he's 100% healthy, the shoulder's fine. When you watch the game progress, I'd be interested to ask Troy today, do you really believe he's 100% healthy? Because there were a number of throws, the DA, they were short, right?
Yeah.
They weren't quite there.
Yeah.
And how many times did Troy say, if he just puts the ball out ahead of him, he's still running? I don't think he's 100% healthy, but he's not going to admit it. And by the way, he's not going to take himself out of the lineup to try and get healthy. They're 0-2 now. He's going to try and be part of the solution. But I just wonder if that's what it was, because to go to a variation of Philly and show the counter to Philly as opposed to give it to the horse and let's ride, maybe there's something more there.
Charles Davis joins us from the NFL on Fox. What does that mean for Cam Newton's career going forward? Because we always knew he'd have to make an evolution from a running quarterback to not only a primarily passing quarterback, but almost an individually passing quarterback. But if he can't throw right now, what does that mean for Cam?
It means that everything changes for what they're going to try and do on offense. His best throws are still off of the run action. You saw the RPO-type throws he made last night. Those were still probably the best throws he made of the evening. And the ones he hit Greg Olsen, who was wide open running down the seam, most of those were off of RPO or some type of a quick play action where he sticks the ball out there, pulls it back, and zoop, the ball's out of his hand quick, right? 10, 15 yards in the air, bam, it's on the guy. If you're talking about doing the rest of it, what I saw last night would lead me to be concerned. They can say all they want, and I'm sure they will, and it's a smart move on Ron Rivera's part. He's fine, he's fine, he's fine. I'm like Rasheed Wallace after a foul was committed that he thought he should have gotten and didn't, and the guy'd go to the free throw line and missed the free throw. Remember Rasheed? The ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie. I thought last night some of those throws, I don't think he's 100%. I'd be shocked to find out he's absolutely 100%. So it changes where they go, and it changes how they run offense. And you know who really gets hurt by this in a lot of ways is probably Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
because now they really jam in on him.
Yeah.
See that space that Cam creates with the run pass options that he has, and the ability that you've got to deal with him. If he's not right, well then you clamp down harder on McCaffrey, and you're not as worried about the wideouts getting downfield on you.
Yep, Todd Bowles had the best defensive game plan possible, and that was totally lock in on Christian McCaffrey, give him no space, and it really worked and paid dividend last night. You've got Dallas and Washington this week, and the Cowboys looked really impressive last week against the New York Giants.
Yeah.
When the Cowboys come out of that huddle, and they now have an offensive line set under contract, a running back set under contract, and a quarterback which we assume is going to be set and under contract soon, are they one of the best teams in the NFL?
Yes, they are. And now they have to continue to prove it. But this is where we're still at that time of year, DA, where roster counts. And they are one of the better ones. I mean, just look at what they have all the way through. Look at how they're able to evolve on offense where, yes, Zeke is still the guy that you run things through. But even when he's not 100%, because that first game he wasn't, as we know, because he's just working his way back, the threat of him allows you to do other things if you have people to take advantage of it. And now they do. It's not just Amari Cooper out wide now. Gallup jumped into the fray, his second-year receiver. Randall Cobb we knew would be a factor. It's not just getting Jason Witten back. He provides great leadership, great example. He's going to give you good, hard, tough, gritty play. And if you go to sleep on him, he's going to make plays that remind you why he's going to the Hall of Fame. But now Blake Jarwin, who many people didn't even think about, is becoming more of a factor. And the best part for him, he won't have to answer any questions post-game, DA. They'll all still go to Witten. So he's good. He just go play. And all those things mashing together now. They like their backup runner in Pollard because he can run it and catch it. It all comes together, but the biggest thing is depth. And the best part, they played a game against a team that's struggling, a team that I think will get better, but they're not anywhere close to that yet, and had enough errors where the coaching staff could get after them, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that they're going to ask for better play this week. And they're going to need it because you're playing a Washington team whose pride is hurt, gave up a 20-7 lead, one of the all-time great runners who got benched as a healthy scratch who will get the ball from the first snap. And DA, go back and look at his history. And I did a little quick dive on this thing about Adrian Peterson. He blew his knee out when he's playing Minnesota at Washington, of all places, right? The very next year was his 2,000-yard season.
Yeah.
Now think about that. Most time we say that's down the road, right? You got to get your knee right. Wolverine regenerated and put 2K up.
Yep.
He gets let go by New Orleans. He blows away Tampa Bay when he goes to Arizona in the first game, 134 yards. Last year in the opener when he signed with Washington, 96 yards, 2 passes caught for 70 yards. He's got to be an extremely ticked-off individual come Sunday. It's going to be fun to watch the fury he runs the ball with early. And it'd be interesting to watch Dallas try and match his intensity with their defense. It's going to be fun.
AP's return from that ACL to what he did last year, not only the timeline was insane, but how he bounced back was insane. It was really one of the most inhuman efforts we've ever seen in NFL history, coming back and doing that. We've got Charles Davis joining us here on the DA show from the NFL on Fox. We talked about this decision of Jay Gruden benching Adrian Peterson, and from a roster flexibility standpoint, it seemed to make sense. But from an emotional standpoint of that locker room, it was clearly a division. There was clearly a problem. So do you think Gruden made the right decision to do it because numerically it made sense, logically it made sense, or emotionally it was a mistake because from an emotional standpoint it didn't make sense?
Yeah, and, I've known Jay for a long time, and I wasn't around him obviously leading up to this, but I've known Jay since he was, coming out of college and going into arena football and being terrific there, et cetera, et cetera. I think this is just one of those occasions where he thought the professionalism of the decision would carry through. That's just a guess. I will talk to him later today and see if I'm anywhere close. And maybe didn't bank on the emotional part of it. Remember, Adrian's only his second year there in Washington, right? So he's an entrenched veteran, but he's not the grandpappy of the locker room, if that makes any sense at all. He
Sure.
is because of who he is, but not in his time in D.C. But maybe, possibly, Jay thought, listen, the team will understand Geis is going to be our guy, and they'll get it because we're trying to win a football game. Well, everything that could have gone wrong did in terms of Geis wasn't impressive, only ran for 18 yards. They blew a 20-7 lead. Emotions are going to run higher in games like that because they think they're going to be pretty good, and the defense thought they'd be better, and they collapsed in the second half. And then, of course, you get hit with it. Boy, did you guys miss Adrian? Yeah, things come to the front pretty quickly then. They had a chance to get through it, DA, if they had won the game. Guys still wouldn't have been happy, but I don't think you would have had the same visceral reaction that we caught after the game. So I'm quite sure Jay and the staff have done some pretty good meetings this week, both individually and collectively with the team. And now the beauty of it is, sad for Darius Geis, is probably out up to what I say, maybe 8 weeks with the meniscus.
Right.
The ball has to go to Adrian Peterson this week, and you can move forward that way. So it's not ideal in any stretch, but you've got another game coming. You've got the Cowboys, a division game, second one in a row. You've got to get right. I think Washington will play with a lot of emotion positively. I think Peterson will play, like I said, furiously. And let's see how this thing turns out.
Yeah, I think that's a smart read on Jay Gruden and how he tried to make that decision. It's a really interesting storyline moving forward because now he really needs Adrian Peterson and needs that locker room. Charles Davis, you can follow him on Twitter at CFD22. The NFL on Fox this week. He's got Dallas and Washington this week. Charles, it is always a pleasure, especially to swap horse farm stories with you. So you be well, my friend. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful call this weekend. We'll be watching.
You do the same, DA, and you tell all those UK people hello. They're my SEC people, even though we're bitter rivals. And it used to be in the month of October, you didn't play a football game there until night, so everyone could go to the races during the day. TV changed that. Yeah. But that was the tradition, was that all Kentucky games in October at home were night games so that everybody could go to the races during the day.
Hey, that's a great little anecdote as well. You're the best. Thanks, Charles.
Take care, my man.